Imagine you go to your favorite restaurant and have a stranger order your food. Then you have the audacity to complain about not liking what you get. This is the exact same as not voting. Today we'll discuss democracy participation and why it is so important to vote. Democracy has an impact on everyone's life, and ultimately it comes down to your vote. Today we'll discuss what democracy means, participation in democracy, and why vote. First off, we have what democracy means. According to the Webster Dictionary, democracy means the government by the people, or rule of the majority. This means the country is governed by voting, whether it's voting for your representatives, your president, your governor, bills. Your country is represented by voting. Nicole Sedaka, the former Interim president, says, "The leaders serve for the interest of the people within a democracy." So the leaders do not gain anything. They don't gain land, they don't gain power. They eventually get ruled out when you live in a democracy. This is why it is so important to vote and decide who your leaders are. Nicole Sedaka also says we all have equal access to voting. Whether it's your knowledge, you all have equal access to do research, you all have equal access to get to the polls, you all have equal access to vote. And nextly, we have participation in democracy. National reporter Brian Rowe talked about a religious group's concern for climate change. They went and they studied, they went and did research, and then they went and recruited people in their community, and they educated them on their concerns. They educated them with articles and facts, and then showed them how to register to vote, how to get their IDs, and then eventually showed them how to vote and how to get to the polls so that they could vote. This is an issue that mattered to these people, and they found a way to advocate for it. The people elect the leader. Again, Nicole Sedaka talks about how the people elect the leader of the country. This is why your vote is so powerful and important. You get to elect the president, whether it's for these 4 years, the next 4 years, or the next 4 years after that. The president determines what happens to the country, along with the governor. The governor determines what happens to the state. This is why it is important to get your vote out there and get who you want in the office to support your views and your political thoughts and policies within the country. And a quote from former Vice President Kamala Harris, "When we vote, things change for the better." If you want things to change for the better, you need to put your voice out there and vote. And lastly, why vote? According to the U.S. Census of 2024, 74 million people registered to vote. Out of those 74 million people, 12% of them didn't vote. While 12% doesn't sound like a large number, out of 174 million, 12% is 20 million people. That is enough people to change the course of an entire election. 20 million people did not put their voice out there, they did not put their thoughts out there, and they did not put their right to vote out there. They were all able, they were all registered. All they had to do was show up to the polls and vote. Reporter Aaron Warnock talks about how voting impacts your health. When you vote for your leaders, you vote for your policies. Policies impact your health, whether it is medical, agricultural, with farmers and ranchers with the way they raise their animals, to the way they grow their crops, to the herbicides and pesticides that are sprayed on the crops, to the seeds that are planted, to where the seeds come from, even to your imports and exports from other countries. These are all impacted by the policies written by the people that you vote for. And lastly, how people vote determines the agenda. Brian Rowe, national reporter, talks about how when you go and vote every 4 years, 2 years again, the bills that you were voting for and the laws that you were voting for don't necessarily get yes or no by your vote, but they do get put on an agenda to Congress. On that agenda to Congress, The ones that are voted for more yes or more no's will then be put on the top or the bottom of the discussion list. This means that they may be discussed next week, or they may be discussed 3 years down the road. That is why your vote matters. If you have a bill that you want to go through, you need to vote yes for your bill. Lastly, democracy gives people the opportunity to have a say. Things can change for the better through your vote. If you have the opportunity, why wouldn't you use it? Voting is your voice. Use it.